Hello, my name is Jalen Shell, and I will be introducing Equifax's cyber incident attack. Equifax is one of the largest credit bureaus in the United States, along with Experian and TransUnion. These agencies are responsible for collecting and maintaining credit information for millions of customers. Equifax produces credit reports which are used to calculate credit scores. These reports are crucial because they allow customers to see what information lenders and creditors review once someone applies for credit. Each credit report from Equifax includes five main components: personal information. This includes your name, address, social security number, and employment history. Credit amounts. This refers to your current credit balances and limits. Inquiry information. This shows who has checked your credit and when. Bankruptcy. These are any public records related to bankruptcy. And collection amounts. These are any past due debts that have been sent to collections. And it is important to know that the customer can freeze their credit reports for free. This prevents unauthorized access and could be a good way to break tech against identity theft. In March of 2017, Equifax suffered a major data breach where hackers were able to access the personal information of millions of customers, including names, social security numbers, birth dates, and more. It is alarming that these hackers remained active in Equifax systems for several months without being detected. Equifax did not recognize the presence of the hackers until it was July of 2017. This gave the attackers months to gather any sensitive data. It was revealed that the breach was carried out by four hackers backed by the Chinese military who exploited vulnerable faxes, online disputes resolution systems, which gave them access to the internet to the internal data breach, to eternal data. Sorry. This breach is one of the largest, most impactful breaches in the United States history. There was a large impact of the Equifax data breach. Around 147 million people were potentially affected. That's over 40% of the US adult population. Equifax holds extremely personal sensitive data, not just for the consumers, but for any adult who has ever interacted with the US banks or associated with employers, including social security numbers, credit history, employment records. And because of this, the lenders rely heavily on Equifax to help verify identities, approve loans, and process everyday purchases. Stolen data had a potential to be used to identify data on a large scale. The Equifax data breach was not a result of just a single failure, but it was more a chain of critical missteps. First, APAC had identified a known vulnerability and released a patch to address that vulnerability in March of 2017. However, Equifax employees failed to perform the routine security patch update provided by APAC Software Foundation. This oversight left the system exposed to the known vulnerability. Once the attackers gained initial access through the web portal, they were able to move laterally to other servers. This was largely due to the lack of proper network segmentation, meaning different parts of the system were not adequately isolated. Furthermore, the attackers were able to discover usernames and passwords stored in plain text. This is a critical security flaw which allowed them to gain access to additional sensitive systems and data. Finally, the attackers were able to extract data in an encrypted form for months. This was due to Equifax failing to renew an expired encryption certificate, preventing proper monitoring and detection of data exploitation. Beyond the initial security failures, the response to the breach also presented significant challenges and incurred substantial costs. In an effort to provide information and resources to potentially affected customers, Equifax set up a separate domain called EquifaxSecurity2017.com. However, getting customers to trust the site provided was proved to be a failure. This was mostly due to the fact that lookalike domains are commonly used in phishing scams, creating immediate suspicion and distrust among the concerned individuals. Adding to the confusion, Equifax's own social media account mistakenly directed customers to a slightly different incorrect domain, securityequifax2017.com, instead of the intended equifaxsecurity2017.com. The wrong site directed them to the correct site, but it was still a mishap. This further undermined trust and created additional frustration for those seeking information. The financial impact of the breach and its aftermath has been enormous. Equifax spent over 1.4 billion on cleanup costs. This significant is is this significant expenditure included incremental costs to transform our technology infrastructure and improve application, network, and data security, demonstrating the long-term investment required to address vulnerabilities exposed by the breach. In the years following the breach, Equifax has undertaken significant efforts to enhance its security posture and modernize its infrastructure. One key initiative was the development of Equifax Cloud. This platform was designed to manage large volumes of diverse datasets with greater speed, control, and precision, suggesting an investment in a more robust, scalable data management system. Furthermore, Equifax has implemented security, information, and event management systems now utilized for enhanced security monitoring. Security information and event management systems is a critical tool that works by collecting, analyzing, and correlating security data from various sources within the organization's IT infrastructure. This enables them to be more effectively respond to and identify potential security incidents in a timely manner. Finally, finally in the Finally, in a move to rectify past oversights, the previously expired public key certificate, which contributed to the prolonged data exfiltration, was discovered on July 19, 2019, and subsequently renewed. This action demonstrates a focus on addressing specific vulnerabilities that were exploited during the 2017 breach. The CEO Richard Smith resigned. Paulino Barros was appointed as the new CEO. Jamel Fraschi was appointed as the new Chief Information Security Officer. Mark Fedler was appointed as the new non-executive chairman. Mark Robertson was appointed as Chief Information Officer. Nas Ayers was appointed as Chief Information Officer. The Equifax data breach not only resulted in a significant financial cost for remediation and security upgrades, but also led to substantial legal and settlement expenses. The settlement included a $100 million civil penalty to the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. This penalty served as a significant financial consequence for the company's failures. Additionally, Equifax was required to pay $175 million to U.S. states and territories to resolve their claims related to the breach. The settlement also allocated $425 million to help those affected by the breach. This fund was intended to provide a various of forms of assistance to the impacted consumers and included free credit monitoring services to help individuals detect and address potential fraud or identity theft, reimbursement up to $20,000 for out of pocket losses to those who spent money on the breach. They also provided identity theft protection services to further safeguard individuals' personal information. Equifax ultimately agreed to a settlement with the Federal Trade Commission, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, and all 50 U.S. states and territories. This widespread agreement underscores the severity and the national impact of the breach. To conclude this presentation, Equifax created more issues following the breach, but later took the necessary steps to protect them from further cyber attacks and to protect the company and their consumers. Thank you for joining me in the research of the Equifax cyber incident of 2017. Thank you.